Greetings, my earthlings. 1 2 1 2. What it do? 1 2 1 2. Mic check. Mic check. Greetings, my earthlings. I don't know if y'all are in here yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and start the show. Get this thing popping. Greetings. So I'm gonna end up fixing this. I'm gonna end up fixing this screen in a sec, but I decided let me go ahead and come on screen. What it do, Ryan? Greetings. Um, I just got done cooking a few seconds ago, so please forgive me. But here I am. I am on time. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Lala, for joining. Give me one hot second, you guys, and we're gonna get this thing started. So the movie Antwone Fisher is most definitely a good one. Um, It's very powerful. It talks about an awful lot about Antwone Fisher. And what a lot of people don't know is Antwone Fisher is actually a real person. And the person who wrote this movie is Antwone Fisher himself. This is a movie about his life. He actually wrote a book called Finding Fish. I'm just talking about his childhood, growing up, and him being in the military and everything. So, purple looks good, Corey. Thank you. This is my Are You Locked In shirt, by the way. I don't know if y'all can see this is my Are You Locked In shirt. So yeah, so I definitely want to tap into this. So we're gonna talk about it. I do first want to read I want to first read this I guess I will say monologue, I guess, from Antwone Fisher because I feel like um it was very powerful. It spoke to me, and I'm pretty sure it might speak for a lot of a lot of people, right? So let's get into it. I'm gonna start off with that. And then we're gonna get into the good stuff like the director, the writer. Y'all know how I do it. I give a background on a lot of people. So again, this movie was written by Antwone Fisher himself, which I guess I can put a picture up of Antwone Fisher, the original person who this movie is about. Let me see if I got a good picture of him. I could show him really quick. Okay, that ain't gonna give me what I asked for now. But this is a picture of Antwone Fisher and his wife. That is oh no. Is this his wife? I think his wife will look a little different. She might be a fan. I don't think this is his wife. My apologies. That's not his wife. That's Antwone Fisher. I think he's at a book signing. Here's another picture of Antwone Fisher, kind of like autographing stuff. And if you can see the little boy behind him, that would be the boy who plays young Antwone Fisher in the beginning of the movie. Let's see here. Okay, Spokiv. Okay, what's up, Wawa? Wawa done join the chat. All right, you guys. So we can get straight into it. Yes, I watched this. Oh, you watched this movie 10 times. Okay, cool, Lala. So maybe you can help. I haven't watched it 10 times, but I watched it a few times. Okay. Fish. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So we're gonna get into it. I just wanted to show you guys what he looked like. But I wanna, while I have him up here on the screen, I feel like it's only fair that I read this little monologue by Antwone Fisher, okay? So y'all already know what it is. This is what he said in the movie is a poem, okay? So it's called Who Will Cry for the Little Boy? Who will cry for the little boy, lost and all alone? Who will cry for the little boy, abandoned without his own? Who will cry for the little boy? He cried himself to sleep. Who will cry for the little boy? He never had for keeps. Who will cry for the little boy? He walked the burning sand. Who will cry for the little boy? The boy inside the man. Who will cry for the little boy who knows well hurt and pain? Who will cry for the little boy? He died and died again. Who will cry for the little boy, a good boy he tried to be? Who will cry for the little boy who cries inside of me? Antwone Q. Fisher, y'all. Wasn't that deep? Wasn't that good? Lala with the crying emojis. Um, All right, Wawa with the brown heart. So yeah, you guys, I felt like that was a good way to kind of start this out to set the tone. This movie is good, but I am going to say spoiler alert. If you've never seen this, it could be a trigger for anybody who's been through any type of traumatic things in their life. So I think that I think it could be quite a trigger. All right, I admit I'm crying. All right, Adaria. Yeah, it's deep, but I feel like most of us are familiar with this movie, right? I feel like most of us is familiar with the movie of Antwone Fisher. So without further ado, let's get into it. But you guys know I'm a lighten the mood up really quick, right? Y'all know I gotta lighten up the mood. So let's lighten up the mood a little bit, Let's talk about memorable lines from this movie. Does anybody know any memorable lines from this movie? I wrote down a few. I wrote down a few memorable lines, and I said I'm going to start doing this in each movie that I review, because if you're reviewing a classic Black movie, we all know that there's a line. What it do, Bean? Thank you for joining. Thank you for tuning in to my live. It is Monday movie night, so thank you for rocking with me. So anyone knows any memorable lines? Okay, I knew she was coming. Nigga, hug my neck. So if y'all know, that was the part when Antwone he goes back to his foster mom, Mrs. Tate, and let me see if I got a little clip of her. This lady here, she's actually a pretty good actor. She's played in other things besides Antwone Fisher, and the lady who played Nadine back here, who was his abuser, his how do you say it? Actual with the S in the beginning. Abuser. She also plays in, let me see if I got a better picture of her. She also plays in The Shy. She plays I forgot Jacob Lattimore character in The Shy, but she plays his mom. And it's so hard to see her as playing someone else when she will, to me, I'm sorry, will kind of forever be known as this type of character, to me personally. So it's kind of hard to kind of take her out of this role. And I know she was just playing a character, but the type of character that she played, it kind of stuck with me. So that was another memorable line. Thank you, Wawa, for pointing that one out. Another one, let me see here. That means she killed it. Exactly. I agree. That means she did her job. I always say anytime an actor makes you mad or frustrated with them, that means that they did their job. Okay. All right. So another famous quote or a famous line from the movie, I would have to say is, do y'all know? When he say, "Hey, pork chop, when you going home?" He say, "When your mama's quit tripping and send me my money." Do y'all remember that? That was a little moment. So pork chop was one of his uh sailor what do you say, colleagues? I don't know military terms, you guys. One of his sailor military colleagues, if you will. And they were all talking about going home for the holidays and stuff like that. And poor Antwone, which we'll get into, he didn't have anywhere to go. Wawa says that's her favorite line. Yes, she has used that line with me all the time. When your mama quit tripping and send me my money. I mean, what platform is this movie on? It is on YouTube right now, Ryan. If you have not seen the story of Antwone Fisher, the Antwone Fisher story, it's here on YouTube. And that's why I decided to review this movie, because it's free right here on YouTube. I like this segment, Corey. Most memorable lines. Yes, I love this segment. I feel like it's needed. Probably a lot I'll check. But yeah, this is on right here on YouTube. All right. So another one is when he sees please help me out. What was Joy Bryant's character name in this movie? He's kind of lurking around. They're both in the library, and he says he's Philip Walker, the late night stalker. And that was, I guess, her, little stalker, because he kept looking at her and scoping her out and checking her out. Let me see here. You better watch it, Ryan. It's good. Yeah, Ryan, check it out. It's pretty good. It's very, very good. Another line would be when he goes to his friend after being basically in a homeless shelter, after being kicked out. which I don't think I have any footage of. I think I have a little bit of footage of behind the scenes when he was with Denzel Washington, and he goes to his friend and he was like, "Hey, you got some food in the fridge?" And then he was like, "You hungry?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm hungry. You hungry? You hungry?" So that's one of my memorable lines. If y'all have any memorable lines in here, you sure is hungry. Oh yeah, he was like, remember when we was kids and you was like, I sure is hungry. So Danielle, she said this movie has a lot to say and it can be very cathartic, especially for men. Absolutely. I said this could be possibly a trigger, Danielle. I actually hit you up, Danielle, so you could collab with me when it comes down to this movie because I know you can give some really good background when it comes down to like maybe from a psychiatrist, therapist, since you're a licensed therapist standpoint that maybe I'm not really well versed to give some of that information. But yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Antonice is in the building. What it do? Thank you, Antonice, for joining me 2 times. Thank you. It's been so long since I watched. Me too. I had to give myself a refresher on this movie, but it's free right here on YouTube. So yeah, those are some of the memorable lines. Again, if you guys got any memorable lines from this movie, drop it down in the chat, okay? We're going to start doing that from now on, you guys. Any memorable lines from the movie, drop it down in the chat. So we're going to get straight on up into it. Let's get into this movie. So we're going to start with the opening scene. I wonder if I have a clip from it. I thought I did, and I do. Hey y'all, I am here. If you need me, sorry I missed the written. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I don't know how to. That's if you want to come because it is kind of last minute. That's if you want to come on screen. I can figure out a way to drop the link in the chat if you want to join. Or if you kind of want to help out and just kind of throw some stuff in the chat, then yeah, that'll be cool. You could do a watch party on Twitch. Corey's World for any movie. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I need to get me a Twitch. I heard about Twitch and I heard Twitch is where it's at, especially for live streaming. All right, you guys. So let's get into this opening scene. You have him basically, he's dreaming. This is the young Antwone Fisher. And I'm so sorry, I forgot this young character's name because he's actually played in quite a bit. I've seen his face a lot during this time. He's played in a few movies. Oh, and how can I forget, you guys? You know, I like to give a background. So I'm sorry, before we get into this young man in the first opening scene, we got to talk about my boy. So we already know this movie was written by the real Antwone Fisher, but what surprised me is the director. Do y'all know who the director of this movie is? Drop it down in the chat before I post a picture. Can anyone tell me who the director is? He's in a music group now. Is he? Okay, so that's a good. So Wawa says he's in a music group now. So that's pretty cool to know that that's where he's at right now. Let's see here. Daniel said, if you can drop it. If not, I will be. Oh, absolutely, Danielle. Now I need you up here for this one. I need you up here for this. Denzel, absolutely, that is correct. Denzel Washington. Where's my guy at? Denzel, boom. There go. Don't Denzel look fine right here? Don't Denzel look fine right here? Okay. This is some behind the scenes footage of this movie, you guys. Denzel did his big one. Do y'all know what other movies Denzel Washington also he also directed? Can anybody name, just give me just one other movie without Googling? Give me one other movie that Denzel Washington has directed before. Let's see here. He's and this is according to Google, you guys. This is looking like a snack daddy. Oh, dad, yeah, not a snack daddy. Fine as wine. Yes, yes. Beard love Denzel. Absolutely. I love Denzel with the what do you call it? What do you call that? The goatee. I love goatee Denzel. I it's something about it. It's something about it. Maybe Training Day? No, nope, nope, not Training Day. So according to Google, he directed 4 movies without Googling. Somebody give it to me in the next 10 seconds. What other movie did Denzel Washington direct? 4 movies total Denzel Washington has directed. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh man, no one guessed it. So he has directed a total of 4 movies. Fences. Okay, I'll give you. Okay, you was a few seconds late, Danielle. I'm gonna bring you up in a minute. I got to figure out how to drop this link. I'm gonna bring you right on up. Um, Fences is one of them, which is a great movie, very, very great movie. It was a lot of dialogue in that movie, a lot of dialogue. Then you have The Great Debaters. I don't know if anyone has seen that movie, The Great Debaters, but that's a good movie as well. Antwone Fisher, of course, and then there's a movie called A Journal for Jordan. It has Michael B. Jordan in it, and I don't know if anyone's seen the movie. Or it's on Netflix. The Roxanne Shante movie, the young lady who played her, she's like a very fresh new actor. But yeah. Okay, Wawa says yes. Just what you just watched that. Okay, so with A Journal for Jordan, I don't know how I felt about the previews to that movie. It didn't grab me enough to watch it, but let me know how that movie turned out. Listening while tidying up. Thank you, Bean. I appreciate you being here. So I am going to play a little music. I'm sorry, you guys, this is a little bit off, but I'm gonna figure out how I can get this live stream over to Danielle. Matter of fact, I think I figured it out right here. All right, Danielle, I'm gonna drop the link in the chat, and hopefully you are ready so we can discuss. Great Debaters. Yeah. Oh, you watched Great Debate. That's right. I think me and you talked about that. Wawa. Wawa said she watched Great Debaters. Okay. Anthony says I'm on time, but you're early. I said either 8:30 or not or 9 o'clock, and I went in the middle and I did 8:45. So you're technically right on time. You're technically right on time. Oh, that is an excellent one. The Great Debaters and A Journal for Jordan was it was sad. Okay. I'm that's one of out of all 4 movies he directed, that's the only one I haven't seen yet. What, Anthony? I'm surprised. I'm very surprised, Anthony. So Anthony doesn't he said he doesn't watch movies as much, but he watched A Journal for Jordan. So I mean, no, he watched The Great Debaters, the debate movie. So yeah. All right, I dropped the link in the chat, Danielle. So whenever you're ready, I'll bring you on stage whenever you are ready. And I'm gonna bring it back to this first scene. So whenever you're ready, just let me know. Drop that link in the chat. Where's my first scene at? There we go. We back to the first scene. Meaning, okay, so me 2 times say you have not seen A Journal for Jordan. Okay, so we got Danielle. She's backstage. There
Hey,
we
hey,
go.
hey.
What it do?
I'm trying to get my life together. Hold on 1 second. I'm trying to
Oh
make
no,
sure
you
I
good.
don't
You good.
die. My phone don't die.
Okay.
You know, you good? I'm just plugging it into my computer. Okay.
All right. So you guys, I have Danielle here to help me out. Thank you for helping me out last minute.
No worries.
All right, so we're gonna dive into this first scene that you guys see up here. We have the young Antwone Fisher. He's basically dreaming about meeting his family. So he's in this like open field, and then there's this like big old shed house, and then he goes into it. He sees basically it looks like generations, and this is something that you can tell that he has longed for. And you kind of get that in the opening scene, and you're like, okay, where's this movie going? Like, okay, he sees his family, or he sees a family that he has longed for. You got anything to add to that? This is really just the beginning. It's really not really too deep.
No, I mean I concur. It's really the
Okay.
beginning. It gives you some a bit of foresight that longing feeling. Right. We don't know yet what's going on, but he does. So.
Exactly. So when he wakes up, you guys, which I do not have a clip of, I'm so sorry. When he wakes up, he's almost in a panic. Now, before he wakes up, something disrupts his dream, and it sounds like a gunshot going off, which we'll get to that later, and that is part of the trauma that he ends up suffering from. Something traumatic happens to one of his best friends, one of the people who he felt like was like his last person that he could like go to, and he ends up, leaving him, and that disrupts his dream. Now he wakes up, and now he's on the boat, and it cuts to the scene where the guys are, about to take a shower. Let me see here. Okay. Hi, Monique. Thank you for joining. So, it shows the guys kind of just, having their little light banter as they do, as, probably guys in the military do. And correct me if I'm wrong, he was in the Navy, right?
He was either he was on the ship. I believe he was either in the Navy or the Marines. I can't remember exactly, but
Okay.
he definitely was in a branch of the military that be on the sea.
Okay. Right. He was some type of sailor. Okay. So you have that. They have the little banter. And then one of the non-melanated sailors ends up having this little light banter with Pork Chop. Pork Chop is one of his little homeboys that he's on the ship with. And the banter that he has with them is kind of okay, but when it comes down to Antwone Fisher has this anger and aggression that you can't play with him in a certain type of way, because he has different types of triggers. So he comes to him and he asks him, he says, what's on your face? And Antwone immediately took that as, hey, you're being racist. I don't have time for you. I got other stuff going on. So they immediately get into a fight. So after they get into that fight, they basically recommend Antwone Fisher to seek psychiatric help, which he does end up doing. And his, I guess, military counsel or psychiatrist is Denzel Washington. So with Denzel Washington being his counsel, at this point, he's kind of even more frustrated, because it seems like he was shooting towards just getting kicked out. He's
Mm-hmm.
very frustrated, angry, and now he has to talk to a psychiatrist. And we already know black men, probably especially back then for Antwone Fisher, is so like kind of taboo. Like, okay, now I got to talk to this person, tell them my business, and I'm not even trying to do that. That laugh, that Corey laugh. Okay. All right. Do you have anything to add to? You can kind of jump in wherever.
Yeah, the only thing that I would add here is that I don't think Antwone at that moment thought anything was wrong with his behavior. And I
Yeah.
think that that would be, again, the reason why I said this movie can be cathartic, because sometimes we can identify something in someone else, we don't realize how we're displaying that same behavior. So I think at the onset of their relationship, it was very much Antwone like, this is who I am.
Yeah.
This is who I am. Y'all lucky. Not that, not he didn't have, he had a little bit of arrogance, I would say, but it's almost like I'm not really angry. This is just who I am. And if people left me alone, I wouldn't respond this way. So he was
Exactly.
somewhat justified in his comportment, like the way he carried himself. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, because the circumstances of life without processing them impact your adult relationships, so that you think this is normal. This is just how I am. So that's the only thing I'll say there.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. And when you think about it, it's so many people, not just black men, have this built up anger and aggression, and they kind of deem it as, oh, that's just me, not knowing that there's a root cause for why you are acting the way you are acting that other people would deem as a red flag. So yeah, that's good. That's really good. So let's see here. Let me get back to Mr. Denzel. Okay, he ain't got the
I got
goatee.
the goatee for you. They working for
He
you. They
ain't
put the
got the
goatee
goatee.
back.
Some, yeah. I feel like every guy in the military, they have that same look. I guess they all have to kind of shave the same
Mm-hmm.
way. They all have the same look.
Right.
So right here we have him kind of seeking and what you do end up starting to notice as time goes on, although he's a psychiatrist, he still seems like he's a little disconnected himself.
But we
Um
learn about why later. Don't
yeah,
spill the tea
okay.
yet.
Okay, we ain't gonna spill the tea, but I feel like I caught on to that though immediately. because
Mhm.
I guess maybe me, I have not been to a psychiatrist. I don't know, but I don't know if there's a difference between male and female psychiatrists. I don't know if they kind of have to have just be very straightforward, no emotion when they're talking, but you can kind of tell he's asking Antwone questions, which we'll get to later. But it's just, okay, what happened? What's this? What's that? He still seems to me in his demeanor a little disconnected, like he's just doing his job. Um,
Yeah, and I would say it really depends on how therapist, counselor, psychiatrist, psychologist is trained. Some of them, and I can imagine in the military, is even more disconnected, right? Because you're like a blank slate. You don't want the client to be trying to take care of you. So it's very much, this is your session. We're focusing on you. We're asking the questions. And some of that dialogue back and forth could have been very disarming for Denzel's character, because that's not the role and function of the therapeutic alliance in certain forms of practice. And sorry if I'm getting too technical, but it's not odd, and but it's interesting that you picked up on it, because sometimes that is what some populations of people will look for, that in a clinician. They'll be like, why are you telling me about your cat? Like, I didn't come here for that. Whereas other people are very much like, I want to know you, especially certain populations of people. They will not divulge information if it's not reciprocal. So
mm. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, and then especially what you said about being in the military, I'm pretty sure
it's
they.
regimented, clear cut. Like, we here, you got this many sessions. This is how what we got to do, and this is what I need from you to check off these boxes. So yeah.
That makes sense. Okay. So we get into when he first gets there, of course, he was not open or receptive to having any of these sessions. And I think he had a total of, is it 3 or 4 sessions? He let him know like he only had, I believe it, I'm gonna just say 4. I could be wrong. 4 sessions with him. So for like, I want to say maybe for the first 2 sessions, he didn't say anything. He just wanted to get his time so he can go. Um, so he
Mark his
just sat there.
time.
Yeah, basically. So he just sat there quietly until his time was up and then he would leave. And I cannot, okay, I do remember. So I want to say maybe at that second or that third session that he ended up having, all Antwone Fisher did was cough. He coughed, and then
Mhm.
that was kind of like Denzel's character, which his name is Dr. Davenport, so I can call him by his character name.
Mhm.
Dr. Davenport, that's kind of his way to kind of like kind of push the door open a little bit, like, okay, this is my window that I'm gonna try to use to kind
Right.
of,
Right.
you cough. So hey, did you say something? He asked him. He's like, hey, you said something? He's like, no, I didn't say anything. He was like, oh, okay, you coughing, that you might want to get that checked out. No, ain't nothing wrong with me. And
Mhm.
then we get into the whole like I don't know. I can't quite remember what he said that kind of made him start to kind of open up about his past. All off of him just coughing at that point.
Mhm. Yeah.
Let me see. Okay, y'all just in the chat. So then we get to, and I'm gonna kind of jump the gun a little bit of when he finally does decide to open up. The first scene we get to is I think he tells him, just take me to the beginning. And the beginning is what he can remember in church. And I think
Mhm.
a lot of people, especially people who have been traumatized at some
Yeah.
point, ties it into religion and abuse. So that
Mhm.
was very interesting that this was kind of like where he wanted to start his story at. It's here, and it's probably where he just what he remembers. So we have the young Antwone Fisher. He's in church. He's sitting down, um, and he said they went to church dang near every day.
Mhm.
And so that was kind of like forced, religion without really being taught where he could really have an understanding. And most kids, my personal opinion, when you go to church, I don't think you really have an understanding until you get to a certain age of why you're going to church and
Right.
accepting that, that you as your religion. Um, so we get here, and then this is when we first get introduced to to his foster mother, Mrs. Tate. which
Mm.
again, it is hard to kind of take her out of this role. She has played in other movies, but to
Mhm.
me, she's gonna always be this. I'm so sorry. I don't want to
Mm.
typecast this
No,
lady.
don't do that to the lady. She just played a role. Lord have mercy.
But
I want
see,
before you finish, I want to
yeah,
make
yeah,
a
yeah.
comment about that religion piece. And I think
Yeah,
that is again, we can sometimes identify these patterns and stuff that we see and we don't see how we're replicating it. I think in certain populations of people, religion, trauma, abuse is intertwined and intertangled because there's this theology of suffering. And so people will kind of there's also theology of poverty too. So if you are an impoverished person that believes that suffering is a part of your lot and a part of God's divine plan, then you will rationalize that. It's almost like I can this suffering has meaning and purpose. It is doing something for me. And it's not to say that it's not, but if you embody that, it justifies all the other behaviors that that young, in some ways, that Miss Tate and the other person, I forget the one, the other one,
yeah.
visited upon him. It's almost like this is a way of life, and we're all just trying to figure it out in our suffering. So,
No, that's a good takeaway. I totally agree with that. Yeah. So if that's kind of what was introduced to you, let you know that hey, we in some way, shape, or form we have to suffer. Then you kind of just take that. Hey, this is how we gonna have to survive. We have to suffer.
mm,
Let me see here. So yeah, we got the church scene, and that's kind of like his just introduction to like how it all started for him. We get introduced to his foster mother, Mrs. Tate, and then he makes a funny comment that if she glances over and notice that we're just sitting there looking crazy, then we realize, if we catch the Holy Ghost, then all of a sudden, then we was okay. And these are
mm,
his siblings, I guess his foster siblings.
mm-hmm,
So he mentions him, which he doesn't technically look mixed, but I guess what does mixed look like? Because I know mixed people that's way darker than him, but he mentions that he's mixed. The little light skinned boy, and how Mrs. Tate, his foster mother, kind of
mm,
treated them differently based on their skin color. And then we also have, which I did not clip this scene, which I thought I had, which I don't see it in here, of how she used to abuse them,
mm-hmm,
physically abuse
mm-hmm,
the kids, and she would kind of put them against each other, pit them against each other, and she would call them
mm-hmm,
Nigga.
mm-hmm.
And she said, Antwone is saying that she would call them that so much
He
that
thought it was
they
a
knew who
mm,
she was, calling based upon her tone and how she said it, which is
mm,
so crazy. And you got to think this is a true story. This like really
mhm,
happened to the real
mhm,
Antwone Fisher. So it's just so sad to know, like, wow, this is how he grew up as a kid. And I'm pretty sure there's probably a million Antwone Fishers out there who went through some form of abuse, if not probably worse than what he went through. Um, so yeah, he's kind of just basically telling his story, and that was kind of his introduction to his childhood when he was speaking with um Mr. Davenport, Dr.
mhm,
Davenport, which is played by Denzel Washington. So as we get into that, he basically, it seems like they had a good start. Like, okay, we're getting somewhere. And then we come to his, if correct me if I'm wrong, after he mentions the beatings and the abuse that he got from his foster mother, Mrs. Tate, then we get into um I guess they're at the end of their session.
mhm.
Let me see here. Anthony says, I thought Miss Tate was going to No.
No, she was not a nice lady. And one thing I knew you were looking for something,
Yeah.
Tori, so go ahead and look for it. But one of the things that I would say is that internalized anger. Even when you said, hey, if we do a certain performative act, we can get out of trouble. with Mrs. Tate, or we can get grace applied to whatever situation is happening. And so much of what Antwone later does is performative, right? He's like, I'm trying
Mm.
to do all these right things because in his mind, whether it is, because again, what we do as children can sometimes impact how we live. That's the soil we're grown in. So we start to replicate those patterns. So it's like, hey, if I do the right things, then I will have this better outcome, even though life is teaching him consistently that it, unfortunately, it's not about his goodness. He ain't do nothing to deserve them beatings.
Yeah, absolutely. That is
But he
really true.
internalized, like, hey, if I get good grades, I get out the house, I go into the Navy, it was the Navy, I do all these things, I'm supposed to have a better life. And I
No,
don't
that's
know that
real.
it equated to that. And so when those things were challenged, that's where the anger came.
Mm. You know what? I think a lot of people probably kind of suffer from that too. When you realize, like, if I do this and if I do that, yeah, that's
we
real.
we want the formula, and
That's
for
real.
I'm this your show, so I'm
No,
not,
go ahead,
I'm saying, but we
please.
want the formula, like 2 + 2 = 4, but understanding that life's economy is not always that. Sometimes 2 + 2 is 22. You be like, how did
Yeah.
that happen? Or -2. You like, because the economy, the nature of life is not as simplistic as that. It's not as black and white as that.
No, you're absolutely right. That makes a lot of sense. I have to shoot. I probably could suffer from that too. Like if I just do this, we can use YouTube for an example. If I I
She
post
don't be
every day.
watching my content. I got a whole video about that.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I think okay. Y'all watch Danielle content. She is excellent when it comes down to this stuff. This is why I thought she would be perfect to help with this movie. Yeah, no, that's real. And I think we get frustrated when we
Hmm.
don't get the results the way we thought we should have got them, or if we compare ourselves to other people. Well, I followed step by step and
Yeah.
it's still not working out. So it's easy for people to get frustrated. So that you made a very, very excellent point right there. But yeah, that's basically what Antoine basically goes through, and that
Hmm.
bottle up anger is what really, I guess, what really he can't really see what the deeper root is for that.
Yeah.
But Doctor Davenport helps him slowly kind of figure that out by him being that outlet to kind of tell him about his past so he can better understand his future. um I forgot what point I wanted to get to, so please forgive me. I wrote down a few notes here. um let's see here. Okay. So it was 3 sessions. So I wrote that down. It was actually 3 sessions. So I'm gonna jump to the next section, and I'm sorry, someone got something up here. All right, Anthony says, listening while settling down. I'll be back in the chat. Thank you,
Okay.
Anthony. I appreciate you. So,
I'm scared to touch chat. If I touch chat, will I be able to see it? No. Dang.
oh, you're
No,
not
I
able to
can
see
do it. No, no,
me?
no, I can do it. Okay. So wait. Okay, cool. I can see it now.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right. So I want to get to this point because I took some notes and I'm trying to rememberize why did I take this note. So I want to say we're now in his third session. So it's getting good. And I think Antoine feels like, okay, like this is kind of my first time opening up. So, and I don't know if anyone has ever been, I probably suffer from this too. When you keep stuff bottled up and then you finally get someone who has an opening ear, then you can't shut up. Then it's like, okay, well, let me tell you about this and let me tell you about that too. This happened to me. And so by the time he gets to his third session, I wrote Denzel messed up in that moment because just as Antoine was finally starting to open up, he reminded him that, hey, we only got 3 sessions. And I'm like, why would he do that in the middle of him really just like getting to the meat and potatoes of his trauma and in his past? But I think I want to say maybe in his second session, he said, hey, I have another meeting. Do you want me to reschedule or push that meeting back? And then you could kind of see where Antoine's like, nah, never mind, don't worry about it. Do you think that was like his pride, or why do you think he said no, like at that during that second session, if you remember that scene?
I do remember that scene. I think it could be twofold. It could be
Mhm.
pride. It could also be that whole approval. I don't think Antoine, well, I don't want to, again, because we find out later about the doctor and his issues, but I
Right, right.
think there is a level of um father hunger, for lack of a better term, and search
Mm.
for male validation. So I think whether or not Antoine knew it in the moment, you ever be looking for somebody to validate you or think that you're important, and then when they don't
Give you the response that
catch
you're
it,
looking
you be
for.
like, well,
Yeah.
forget it then. Just forget it then. Right. And so I don't know if it was just pride or it was a level of, hey, this is a black male, an authority figure, somebody I possibly could connect with, and they're not seeing me the way that I think that they should. You're not valuing the time. So why should I? So I don't know because
Mm.
it's not explicitly stated, but I could definitely see that parallel.
I agree. I
If
agree.
I'm about to touch something, but if I disappear, I'll be back.
Okay, no, you good, you good. I'm gonna add to that because I also wrote he reminds him like, hey, you only got 3 sessions. So to me, I got not dismissive, that might not be the right word, but it's just like, hey, I'm just doing my job. I know there was a moment where you thought we were connecting, but this is your third session. And so I put here, this is my own little takeaway. I said men and women who really need to deep dive and channel their anger into things that what did I write? To other things really need more than just a few days to open up. Oh, okay. So I guess where I was getting from that was, dang, they only get 3 sessions? Like that man really needed to, oh, what was that? That man really needed to unpack. So I'm like, for someone who's trying to like really understand where this anger is coming from, why do you think I don't know how accurate that is in the military. They only give them 3 days.
No, it could be so insurances only give you a certain amount of sessions.
Okay. I didn't think
So
about
I can imagine in the military and to be also depending on the transgression. So if he would, let's be clear, he could have used his sessions and maximized them.
it. True.
If he had enough content, the doctor could have said, "Hey, we need to we need to extend this time." But he also didn't give him much to work with in those first couple sessions. So yes, they can stipulate how many sessions you have, and also the doctor can extend them. But I can imagine in the military that would not have been seen as a good thing. If I said mandate you to 20 sessions, that might need you need to be home and not here.
That
So
makes sense. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely correct about that. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. I'm gonna give a quick little story time from me, and I don't know
Mhm.
what it is. So I don't. For those who kind of been following me, knowing that I've kind of had little moments where I'm like, hey, you guys, I'm feeling like I'm getting anxiety. I remember I was like, hey, y'all, talk to my doctor, and she's a black doctor, and it's almost as if we had like this unspoken like moment because
Mm,
we had a session to where we um basically like FaceTime. It was a Teams meeting. I'm sorry, Zoom meeting,
mhm.
and I was letting her know like, no, I really feel bad. She was like looking at me like, if you say anything crazy, you go
Absolutely. That we
like,
have to tell you that. We are
yeah,
mandated by law. Listen, there are three things that you cannot say to me without further consequence. I can break confidentiality if you
right.
say these things. So yeah.
So she was in this sense kind of like, I think you okay. You just need to browse. Okay, 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 okay. Let me not take it too far. So I totally get that though. So that it makes sense. So like I guess maybe possibly I'm not sure how accurate this is. Maybe 3 sessions is if someone's angry or I don't want to say, can I say a misfit or whatever? Um
Mhm.
I guess
Well,
they feel like three sessions
I'm
are
gonna
okay.
go out on a limb here and say the anger was the symptom, not the problem.
I agree. I agree.
So I
I'm
don't
definitely.
think Antoine was angry. I think he was ashamed.
Ooh. And I think you can kind of see where the shame came from later on when he
Oh,
starts
yep.
like
Mhm.
deep diving, especially
Yeah.
when it comes down to his interaction with the opposite sex and all
Mhm.
kind of stuff and just his living situation and not having a family. We're gonna get there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a good observation. Let's see
Oh,
what.
and Anthony said father hunger as a
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so when I say father hunger, it's just, we make up fancy terms. It just means the lack thereof and desire to have a father figure in one's life, especially as someone who has an absentee father. So we know that Antwone was in the foster care system because we later find out why, but we know his father was absent. So
Exactly.
that thirst and hunger for having a male figure in their life.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of men and women today that really have that, and so they look up to, I guess, what you would say maybe like OGs in the neighborhood and stuff like that. Like a lot of people do that. Let's see here. I was trying to pull back up my. Okay, Anthony says okay.
Mhm.
All right. So if we
Everybody's loving your shirt, by the way. They're like, that's
I
so
see.
beautiful.
Thank you.
I
Shout
feel
out
like I
to
should
Chip
go run
Low.
and change to mine. Go ahead.
Shout out to Chip Low. Thank you for my Are You
Mhm.
Locked In shirt. I finally got. So I really, really appreciate that. So if you are part of the Are You Locked In community, hit up Chip Low if you don't have a shirt. Um where was I? So yeah, after that session, at that point, he kind of just like, okay, well, if it this is my third session,
Mhm.
I guess I'm just not gonna talk about it. I guess I'm just, gonna just keep being me, keep being, I guess, angry, or keep bottling up these feelings or emotions that I have. So then,
To answer
um,
Lala's question, green, your favorite color.
oh, green.
Green.
Oh, nice. And that's so crazy because my favorite color is red. However, probably as the last 5 years, I have fell in love with green, olive green, hunter green,
Really?
all kinds of green. Yeah, it just looks better. Like red is my favorite color, but it doesn't look good on everything. But I
Mm.
love greens. There's something about it. So yes.
I have a question for you, Corey. Do you think Antwone in that moment, like when his sessions were over, do
Hmm.
you think he knew his symptoms were related to his childhood? Or do you think it was just because you
Mm,
said, well, I guess I'm going to talk about it. Do you think he knew he was getting close to the breakthrough? Or do you feel like,
that is a great question. I honestly feel like, yeah, I'm gonna say yes.
okay,
Sometimes I personally feel like but you don't know, if that makes sense. Like you have an idea, like this
mm-hmm,
is probably why I'm kind of messed up, but I don't. Maybe I haven't talked about it in so long, or I haven't talked about it at all. I
mm-hmm,
can't really just. I can't put my feelings into the right words. So I think that tied into the father hunger, just somebody to listen. I think he knew. I think
mm-hmm.
he had an idea. I think he knew. What do you think? Do you think he knew, or he just honestly didn't know?
I don't think he knew the extent of it. I think
Okay.
that it was in that moment, hey, it's on the precipice of It's like when you first meet somebody, you don't know until the absence thereof that this was important. Because this ain't their
Okay.
last session. I mean, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? But I don't know that he knew.
I can go for that only because, yeah, I could see that. So that's just like someone whose father hasn't, which his wasn't, been in their
Hmm.
life, and then I'm gonna just use it for an example, maybe a promiscuous woman
Hmm.
that doesn't have her father in her life, and she kind of goes through certain men and probably been called every name in the book of, her probably being a 304, whatever.
Hmm.
And to her, she's probably thinking like, oh no, this is just me.
Yeah.
But maybe it takes for a certain person to kind of pull out like the deeper root. So I can see that. I don't,
I
but
don't know. We can't. These are hypotheticals.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't think it's a right or wrong interpretation. I was just wondering, um, what you
I,
thought.
yeah, I think in the beginning, I don't think he did at all. But I think
Hmm.
the moment when he finally started to kind of open up, I think he had somewhat of an idea. So
Hmm. Okay.
I think that's somewhat of an idea. So we get into, I want to say, um, Was this, did he give him a book at this particular time, at this third session? I think he gave, or no, the book about slaves, or
I
was this
think so. And my timeline is crazy because I haven't seen this in a minute, but I
okay?
think so.
I want to say his third session, he said, well, what I'm going to do is recommend for you to get a second chance. Like, he kind of wrapping it up with him, like, okay, I'm recommending for you to get a second chance, and this is what you need to do. This aggression, this build up anger that you got. Oh no, my apologies, my apologies. Um, not about the aggression and the anger, more so about, he gave him the book was called, I have it written down somewhere. It's called The Slave Community,
Mhm.
to help him understand people like his foster mother. And what
Mhm.
he wanted him to know is, no, I don't agree with her, but I want you to understand her mentality. And what he explained to him is that the treatment from people like his foster mother, people who abuse people, is the mentality of their masters, and how it was
Mhm.
passed on to them from generation to generation. So
Mhm.
maybe if you have an understanding of why she acted the way she acted, maybe you can kind of, like, I guess, kind of tie some of the pieces together. I don't think that was as helpful, but I think it kind of is like, okay, well, it's a start.
Mhm.
What do you think about him giving him that book?
I think it's very similar to what I said in the beginning.
Yeah.
Sometimes I cannot see patterns in myself, but if you give me an image, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's movies, sometimes it's literature, sometimes it's music, sometimes it's some other form of art, a picture. You can bypass the part of yourself that will refuse it for your own and be like, oh, I can see that. You know what I mean? I can
Yeah.
see
Okay.
that because it's external from me. If you throw on a movie like this, a lot of people like the whole concept of father hunger. Oh, I can see that
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Not understanding that you've been acting out that same process, but because it's in front of you, you can have a different perspective. So I think it was a placeholder for a little bit. Like, here, look at this. See if you can make some parallels here.
Okay. I can see that. I can agree with that. I can agree. So he hands him this book. Uh-oh. Did I take us down? My bad, y'all. There we go. Lets him know, hey, check this out. And hopefully that helps, because this your third session, and we gotta end this. We gotta wrap this up.
Mhm.
That's what it kind of gave. Like, hey, this is kind of basically all I can give you for right now, because hey, all we got is three sessions. I'm glad he started talking. Yeah, I'm glad he started talking too. We wouldn't have a movie if he wasn't talking. I'm glad he started talking too. But it did help him, I guess you could say, the real Antwone Fisher kind of put the pieces to the puzzle together.
Mhm.
So as he gets this book, he actually he starts reading it, and he ends up going out on the little deck, and on the ship, and you have the antagonist, which the antagonist is not only light skinned, the palm colored person. I'm trying to be respectful. The non-melanated one, he's already became an antagonist for him in the beginning of
Mhm.
this movie. And then we have a little light skin here in the middle. His name is Grayson. So Grayson kind of messes with him throughout the movie. I think he messes with him like two or three more times. So in this point of the movie, he's reading, he's really trying to get to understand himself, and be more knowledgeable of why things are the way they are. And the boys kind of come up and try to talk to him, just a regular, like, friend banter, like, hey, what's going
Mhm.
on, what you doing, being inquisitive, and being annoying.
Mhm.
And he asked him what you read, and you reading book about slaves and stuff like that. So they end up getting into it. So he's very annoyed with him, so they end up getting into it.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna jump the gun again because I don't want to go bit by
Mhm.
bit,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
this leads him to having another session with Dr.
I
Davenport.
know he like, sir.
Like, you back again? Dang, what's
Mhm.
going on? But prior to that, after he gets into the fight, And I don't know when it comes down to the military, because how many fights can you get into before they just kick you out?
Again, I don't know. I
Okay.
don't know.
All right.
I don't know. It might be a three strikes. He was on the second. I don't know.
Okay, he was on his second one. So he gets in there, he's frustrated, he's angry. Do you think Dr. Davenport realized what he was battling with and that he had that father hunger? And do you think Dr. Davenport was trying to purposely ignore it? Or do you think he was dumbfounded? Like he just really didn't know?
It's hard to say because I think it's not until later on, probably, when he starts telling him about I don't want to say the layers, the
Mm.
multiple layers of trauma that he might have realized his own bias walls that he might have had up, right?
Yeah.
The doctor, because again, we find out later that he had some stuff going on with him. So sometimes, even for clinicians, I have to put up a wall so that I can take care of you. So I don't know if he knew or at what point. I think it was when he started talking about the mom and trying to find the mom, is probably
Okay.
around the time that the doctor was like, why are you pushing for this so hard? Think
Yeah.
about why is that community connection so important? Is that a mutual thing that both of them had? So I don't know if he knew when he came in the office that second time. I think it was a little bit later on.
When he started to want to kind of search for his family.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
I can see that. I can see that. So, he's back. He's back in the office.
Back like I never left.
Okay, like, all right, now let's talk for real. Because
Mhm.
he wasted the first two sessions.
Right.
So now he's back, and I'm glad he was willing to take him in with open arms, which I guess he might or may have not had really a choice. That's his job.
Mhm.
Um, but when he starts talking to him, then I think he starts to get into the SA,
Mhm.
if I'm not mistaken.
Oof.
Well, before he got into the essay, because I think what triggered him to talk about it was this young lady,
Mhm. Yep.
Joy Bryant. So
Mhm.
they first, I guess this is already like a long term friend of his that he kind of sees around the way, and they have some type
Mhm.
of relationship, friendly relationship. And the first scene is of them in the library, and you kind of knows throughout the movie she like him. She want to talk to him. She want to, and it could be just honestly in a friendly way.
Mhm.
However, you can see he's kind of like not trying to be dismissive, but he's not trying to take it there. And do you think that's because of his fear based upon what happened in his past with?
I don't know. It could be fear. It could
Mm,
also just be not. I don't know how to do this.
okay.
Right? It can, and both of those things can coexist because have you where we don't see another that we're not told of a healthy relationship with a woman throughout his not a teacher, not a best, you know what I mean? We don't
Yeah.
see any mirroring of a healthy relationship. The women in his that we're told about they're all not great relationships. The mom, the
Mm,
cousin, the foster mom, right? Or the foster mom's cousin. So it's a challenge.
it
Hey
is.
Jay.
What's going on, Jay? Thank you for tuning in. I agree, and this kind of takes it back to, and I'm gonna have to use women because I'm a woman. I can only speak for
Mm-hmm.
women. With women, when a woman gets in maybe a relationship with a guy, and you can kind of tell certain women who has not had like the best father figure in their life, based upon how they interact with their spouse or their significant other. Like, okay, you may have not had any father figures or the best father figure example in your life. So I can kind of see that. So it can be from, hey, I'm doing all the wrong things, or hey, I just don't know what to do. And I can agree with that. Like, hey, this is awkward for me because I kind of obviously like you too, but my interaction with the women in the past have not been the best.
Mm-hmm.
So this
Yeah,
will be
it's hard to emulate something you've never seen.
That I ooh, you said
That's why movies and representation are so big and important. And there was such a push, like, hey, we need doctors, lawyers, we need to see ourselves so that we can emulate that. Otherwise, it's very hard to. And I know that's a different vein, but
yeah,
even in relationships, if we people will copy what they see, good or bad.
that's a fact. That is ooh. That's why I needed you, Danielle, up here, because baby, I don't
No,
even
but
know how to
it's,
put stuff into words.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
So.
that's real. That's real. Because I think about myself. Me and my probably any guy I've probably ever dated, maybe even friends. I'm not an affectionate person. I tell people that all the time. And then I remember having a talk with one of my homeboys, and he was like, "Yeah, you not affectionate." He was just kind of going in, kind of in a loving way, like a tough love.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm like, I can't give you what I haven't had. I don't know how to, I don't know. I don't have like a super affectionate background like that. So
Hmm.
I'm more so, my love language is more so gifts and acts of service. Now I know how to
Right.
do that because I had that. I've had
Hmm.
a background where, oh, I can give you this, I can give you that. But the affectionate, the lovey dovey, the back up. And it's
That's
like,
interesting. Do you feel like you've always been that way, or were you the kid that reached for the hug and didn't get one, and so you learned not to, or were you? That's just how you are. That's just.
I hate saying that's just how I am because I'm like a person that's like it's a meaning to everything. It got to be a meaning, but some stuff can
Mm.
honestly just be like it is what it is. Far as I can remember, I don't think I was all. I think what's the saying? Villains aren't born; they're created. So
Mhm.
it's kind of
Mhm.
like I think that just developed over time, and it
Yeah.
could be to maybe maybe at a moment where I felt like I did need to have a shoulder to cry on. Maybe I didn't have this turned to a session. Do I need to lay down on my couch?
I did not. I promise. I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to be
This is
good.
turning into
Sorry.
a session.
No, no, no. You brought it up. Okay, come on, come back. Go ahead. Let's talk
Okay,
about
we back.
Antoine.
We talking about Antoine. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Okay. But yeah, I just had to use that as an example because you
Mhm.
brought up a very, very, very good point about Antoine, just not knowing how to um, interact with, I guess, a female that he likes because the past female in his relationships just in his life just
Yeah.
he didn't have a good example.
Didn't. And then also the control issue. I don't know if, and this is, when you think about the earlier times, he had no control. So for her
Mm,
being the one who kind of, she wasn't aggressive at all, but like you said, you could tell she liked him.
yeah, yeah.
So now, what do I do with that? Is this going to be like last time? Whether he ever thought
Mm,
about it, like, am I going to be able to have control in this relationship because I haven't had control in times past?
that's a good point. That's a very, very good point. So, without throughout the movie, with you see him kind of being kind of awkward or not really fully investing into, I guess, whatever relationship that they were going to eventually blossom into later, you find out why. So I guess at this point, I don't know, on this clip here specifically, I think she asked him out. No, 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 no.
Hmm.
My apologies. I'm jumping the gun. I think she may have asked him when he ran out of the library. I don't have a clip of that, you guys.
Hmm.
So if you've seen the movie, you know what scene I'm talking about. And she kind of like catches up with him, like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I think
Hmm.
at this point he was a little frustrated that his sessions ended and he didn't really know
Hmm.
how to kind of explain like how he was feeling and how he
Hmm.
really kind of thought he had a moment to where he's supposed to open up. So he didn't really know how to say that to her. So he kind of like not brushed her off, but kind of like, hey, like I'm not trying to be mean, but
Right.
y'all get what I'm saying.
Hmm.
If you've seen a movie, if you haven't, I'm sorry. I'm probably not explaining this the best way. Um, so he gets to have his next session with Dr. Davenport, which again is Denzel Washington, and he lets him know that he has a date coming up.
Hmm.
And he has a date coming up with Joy Bryant. And again, I forgot her
I
character
think it's
name.
Cheryl. Cheryl.
Cheryl. Okay, thank you. Thank
Hmm.
you. So Cheryl. And so he's like, okay. Do you think at this point that Denzel Washington caught on that he just like he's awkward with women, or you don't think that happened until later?
I'm trying to remember at what point did he tell him he had not partaken of the fruit of the vine. I don't know if he told him or was that
I think it was
like
after his date. I think it was after
okay, it was after. Okay.
he
So
showed up
no,
to
I
his
think
house.
he probably picked up on the awkwardness but didn't know why.
Okay. Okay.
Like and again, if you tell somebody, "Hey, this is my only experience is a violation," that lends to like, "Hey, this might be an area of I'm trying to say it for YouTube, like
Yeah.
delicate is delicate because again, there's trauma here. So I can see, that being that's awkward.
Yeah. So I guess he asked basically kind of the same questions you kind of already kind of asked, like, well, okay, you got a date, why are you nervous? Like, what, like, okay,
Mhm.
like, can you explain more? Why, why is this
Mhm.
a big deal to you? Like, and
Mhm.
then he basically says, hey, the women in his life before, he didn't have the best experience with. Let me see if anyone, okay. So that's Lala shouting out Jay. So he brings up the fact that, and I have a very, very, very distorted picture of Mrs. Tate, his foster mother, calling them, and I or two of the boys to come with her because they had to go to, where was it? They had to go. Was it downtown? They had to go somewhere. I
Mhm.
cannot. I cannot remember, but they had to go somewhere. And why do you think she left Antwone? Why do you think she told Antwone to stay back with Nadine?
I For the life of me, I don't know. I don't know if it was this because she had that strict colorism thing going
Okay.
on. I don't know if there are some folks that, again, not to be too technical, like there's this concept of a favorite person and the opposite of the favorite person. So
Mm,
it might have been like you are the one who's the sacrifice. It could be this is the strong one. Could be this the one ain't gonna say nothing. It could be she legitimately, which I don't think. I think she knew. I think she knew that this was something was awry. I have no idea why that baby got left.
that was so interesting to me. I'm like, okay, why she left him? Why she didn't take? Or she just really? Well, he did mention that she disliked him the most, but I don't understand. Why do you think that was? Do you think because what do you think it was about him that she saw in him that just made her just dislike him the most?
I don't know, but I know that whole color thing was a thing for her
Okay.
because she liked the light skinned boy better.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, it could just be
Sorry
just
for
a
the
whole
chat. I
colorism
mean, it
thing.
is what we talk about the movie.
Yeah.
It's just the movie. Like
Like the light skinned one better.
I,
Okay.
that's.
Okay, so it could just be simple as just colorism. Like, okay, I don't care for you, so I'm just gonna
I
leave
mean, it
you.
could also be this is the one that's most like me. I don't like myself. It could be
Mm,
a myriad of things because she wasn't right. I mean, it could be attitude. It could be this the one. Um, Strong silent, like I don't know. It could be a myriad of things.
okay,
And
okay.
it's interesting again, you see the end and it's like that's anyway, go ahead.
So then we get into her leaving Antoine with Nadine. Ooh, child.
Mm,
Trigger warning. I want to get too deep into this, especially for those who have not watched this movie, but
mhm,
this is a very, 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 very distorted picture in the background. This is Nadine. You can see she's obviously taller than him. Um, okay, so directors, little take when they record stuff in certain angles.
mm,
Obviously, she is taller than him because she's the adult and he's a kid. But
mhm,
they'll record stuff where the camera is hovering over her just to show her dominance. They did
mhm,
the same thing in another scene, which I don't have a clip of. Sorry, you guys, so you can kind of get the visual of what I'm trying to say. But there was a scene where Mrs. Tate was beating the kids, and they made sure they angled the camera underneath her to make her look bigger than
Bigger.
them, and and then they had the angle of them from the top showing how small they were.
Mhm.
So I did learn that. I didn't go to film school yet, but I'd be Googling stuff. Um,
Mhm.
Whenever they do camera angles like that, it's always to show the other person's dominance. Usually they're like the antagonist, the person, picking on the
Mhm.
smaller person. So they do that, and they have a certain lighting as well to show,
Mhm.
like they might make it darker
Right.
on the antagonist, and they might make it lighter on,
Mhm.
the person that's the protagonist. He's fine. Oh, they're talking about elevated. Okay. What's going on, coach? Thank you for joining the live. If you're tuning in, if you can see, we are reviewing the movie, The Antwone Fisher Story. So I have my lovely co-host here for tonight, Miss
Hop
Danielle.
up co-host.
Okay, this a little last minute, but she came through in the clutch for your girl last minute because me personally, this is a great movie. I wanted to do it because number one, it was free on YouTube. And number two, this is a good classic Black movie. And I think some of the topics that we are diving into that is perfect to kind of expound on some of the things that we were talking about. So there
Mhm.
you have it. So thank you for joining. So let's dive into this next scene. Um, and again, I don't want to get too in detail, but as you can tell by this little distorted picture of what's going to happen, and she tells him to go downstairs, and
Mhm.
he does it, and yeah, she tells him to do some other stuff, which he's very uncomfortable, which any child would be uncomfortable with, which any child shouldn't be doing, and put him just in the worst situation. This is where the essay begins, and he kind of
Mhm.
talks about that, and he tells Denzel Washington this, and then what he does is the moment that he realized, and I guess I don't even know if I want to dive into this like this because I don't want this to be triggers for anyone who has had that to happen to them.
Mhm.
So definitely sorry if that has happened to anyone before,
Yeah.
but it makes me think as a kid, the first thing he did when it felt wrong, he ran away,
Mhm. Mhm.
and he ran to his friend's house.
Yeah.
Um, Are you able to, without, I guess, not getting, I guess, it's hard to not get too deep into this.
Right.
Um, what did you think of that scene?
I think it's very appropriate, and I think that that is kind of what happens. And also, he did it physically. He literally ran. But a lot of times children will do it emotionally or psychologically because
Yeah,
they can't physically, right?
fight. Yeah.
I think that that was and again, not to get too deep, Antoine is still running, right? He's still doing the same behavior
Mm,
as an adult, right? Because when you talk about the anger showing up, we talk about the anger stemming from the shame that he feels from these events. Um, so I think that that's was a good. Is of course we know it's a true story, so we commiserate. This is not made up,
right.
but it's also like this is a representation of what he's doing psychologically as well.
Yeah, I can see that. That makes sense. Yeah, so he's still kind of running away from, I guess, any type of trigger, any type of red flag that kind of reminds him of anything like his past. He kind of runs
Right.
away from. And he runs to his best friend's house, which is Jesse. That is his best friend. That's the person who he can always go to. Um, I was gonna say I wonder why, which we'll probably get there when Jesse gets older. Something else traumatic happens to him as well.
Mm-hmm.
He runs to him, and I'm glad he found a friend in him during that particular time being. Um, but to kind of go back to his whole relationship with women, this is kind of where it stemmed
Right.
from, his awkwardness and the essay and all that other good stuff, or bad
Mm-hmm.
stuff, not good stuff, Lord Jesus.
Yeah.
So he ends up telling Dr. Davenport, like, hey, this is kind of where that stems from. I don't know if I can recall his reaction towards that. I think he was just still like just asking questions with
Eh,
you.
Go
Oh, go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
No, you answer your question. Ask your question.
I was just gonna say with you being a licensed therapist, and when you kind of talk to people, like like what I kind of think you said it earlier, you can't really give no reaction. You kind of just got to ask your next question, right?
Yeah, I think it depends on the client,
Okay.
the patient, but I think oftentimes if this is the first time that someone has articulated that, you want to let them say it. And you also don't want to be like, oh, I'm sorry that happened to you, because that's not in the
Mm,
moment. I You might have never told anybody that. So the thing is, tell me more. How are you feeling? Tell me more. Is there anything, has this ever happened before? Like, you want to normalize the experience as opposed to being like, oh my God, again, no, we don't want to make it, you don't want to make the person feel awkward. So he probably
right.
just rolled with it. Now if Antwone is breaking down, crying, having a panic attack, he's going to address him as such. He's not going to be like, all right, you're crying, next question. He's going to take care of the person in the moment. Oftentimes there can also be a numbness that happens because when you have trauma that you've compartmentalized, you're telling the story at a distance. Like, you're just telling the story as it happened, not as if you were participating in it.
Mm, that's
So
true.
it
Now
really depends on the patient.
that is very true. Is that with anything, do you think, or do you think that's mostly with traumatic stuff? Like when you're telling the story, you're kind of just you're not really telling it in a way that like, okay, this happened to me. You kind of telling like,
So I think when you're telling it as facts and not giving any emotions, there's a reason
mhm,
why, right?
what do you think
There's
that
a
reason
reason
is?
why you're doing that so that you're not acquainted with it. Does that
Mm.
make sense? It's like
Yes,
if
it
I'm
does.
telling you about, oh, I had a hard day and I was so frustrated. Okay, you didn't compartmentalize that. It's just like I was frustrated. I articulated my feelings. But if I say I was violently abused, abused,
Mhm, mhm.
yeah, and I just moved on. Like, you don't, you associate the feelings with it. Yeah, that's trauma.
Got you, got you. No, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. So, he tells him about, I guess, his interaction, and but he lets him know he has a date. And I probably did jump the gun a little bit. I guess he wanted him to role play with him. And we're gonna get to this scene. I don't know if you remember. He was like, okay, well, if she asks you this, this is good. And then, she said, hey, I'm hungry. What do you say? And he was
Hmm.
like, I don't know. He's like, I could eat. He's like, okay. And
Hmm.
I thought it was so cute, right? Right
Trying to
here.
model for him. Hmm.
Yes, because it happened the way that he thought. So it was like a score, like, yes, it's happening the way I thought it would happen. Like we
Hmm.
did our role play and now it's really happening. And
Right.
she was like, you hungry? And he's like, I could eat. He did this like little cute little laugh to himself, like, oh
Hmm.
my God, like this happened. Like, have you ever had something like that happen to you? Like, dang, like it happened the way I thought it would happen. It doesn't have to be like with the date,
No,
but
no,
just
no. I'm trying to recall.
we rehearse something. You're like, dang, it happened just like I thought.
I'm trying to think of anything that I rehearsed, because there are some people that's a part of their life. I can't remember rehearsing anything. And I'm the type of person, if I rehearse something, it's not going to happen. Anything like,
Oh, dang, that's true. Sometimes I do be having like, dang, this did not go
I'll be
according
like,
to
oh,
plan.
I'm going to get up there and I'm going to say this. That is not what happens. So people be
True.
like, don't send me the questions in advance. It is no point, because,
Nah, you right. You right. You absolutely right.
but it
But I
was a
feel like
good
it's like that
exercise.
rare moment where you're like, dang, this actually happened the way I thought it would happen.
I thought it
Oh,
was it's an excellent illustration of a therapeutic thing working in real time, because
yeah.
sometimes it doesn't.
And we basically witnessed that here. He was just like, oh
Hmm.
dang, this actually worked out. I just thought that this was like a rare moment where he actually smiled and he was happy. I was like, this is
Yeah.
so cute. And
Like,
she has no
yes.
idea why he's like, she's like, what are you laughing at? He's just like, nah, don't worry about it. I just thought that was a cute moment.
Yeah. It was a
So
moment of levity in an otherwise very thick, you know, atmosphere of a movie, for lack of a better term.
yeah, 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 yeah. Absolutely. It was finally a decent moment for Antwone Fisher. And an even better moment where I think I have as they went on their date, they ate, and I think, which I don't have a clip of that scene. They was at a restaurant and she was telling him about all the food and the cabbage, and he was like, "It's
Mhm.
nasty cabbage," and they laughed. Um, but at some point, at the end of the night, they share a kiss, or she just kissed him on the cheek.
Mhm.
So he was happy about that. That was his first like moment to where he was very open, and
Yeah.
he was open to a kiss. This wasn't forced or anything. So
Right.
it just came easy for him with that. So he was super excited. So excited that he ran he
He
like
was
in the
running.
middle of the night to let him know like he was excited about this kiss. Basically his, I guess technically his first kiss.
Mhm.
That was interesting. Like I feel like, to me personally, I feel like at this point, he like, dang, this is brother first kiss. Like, what's going on? Like, this
I
is first kiss. Like, what's up?
listen, I thought they probably put that in there for drama because I'm like,
Okay.
show up at my show up. But yeah, no, I thought that was again illustrates some positivity because this is all before he goes and has his kind of like transformative process. I think this is in the beginning stages of him getting some healing and wholeness. So I thought it was a good moment in the film.
It was. I agree. I agree. Um, Now, I did not tap on or tap into this part, but I think before Antoine Fisher came, we had this moment with Denzel and his
And his
wife.
wife. Hmm.
Where we can kind of see where there's some type of disconnect between them two. Like he's avoiding something. He's avoiding, and she's kind of like, "What's up?" So we just ain't gonna talk about this. And throughout the movie, you're trying to figure out, like, okay, well, what is it? Like at this point in the movie, did you figure? Okay, obviously you knew there was some type of disconnect between them, but did you kind of have an idea of what that disconnect would be?
I didn't. I didn't know. I'm a little aloof when it comes to stuff like that. So I knew something was awry, but I didn't know what it was.
I feel like I did. I feel like off the bat I figured out what the issue was. I
What
don't know why.
gave you the clue?
Maybe because maybe because I watched too many movies. So I was like,
She's like,
I'm
I'm
like, this is
feeling.
the part where this okay. So she's trying to say, okay, that's what I'm assuming. It was lightly touched on, but it's just like okay.
Hmm.
I don't know. I just felt from the beginning. She what's her name? Sally something. I cannot think of the real actor's name, but
Hmm.
she does great with her. And I tell my best friend this all the time. I love people who can act with no dialogue. Those are the best actors because you have to act off of facial expressions, and sometimes that's a little bit harder than actually having like words for real. So
Hmm.
I automatically know, okay, what's her deal? Why she keep looking all sad like a little puppy dog every like 5 minutes? I'm like, it's something that she obviously is longing for,
Mm.
that he's not, that he's just act like, I don't know.
Absent.
Again, maybe it could be a military thing. I don't know how all military men. I did used to date a guy who was in the Coast Guard. Shout out to you if you watching this. Um,
Not to you.
I
My bad.
did. I dated a guy in the Coast Guard, and I don't know if it could be that. That's just kind of how they are. Just so like, just got a wall build up, or did he just, or was he just like purposely? I don't know. Like, was he purposely just avoiding, or he just really was just oblivious and trying to block out some things? I don't know.
With I'll say this, and I do have to get back into the chat minutes because I have some obligations.
Oh yeah, yes,
But no, no, no. I want to say this. I think people don't, and you'll get to this at the end.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Don't realize that as a professional, you be having these same problems. You be
yeah.
having these same struggles, and so me personally, can know I am dissociating. I can know I'm
Mm.
compartmentalizing. I can know I am self-sabotaging. I can know that I am replicating an old pattern and still not have enough cognizance not to do it. Even though I know all the things.
Mm.
That's why therapists have therapists. That's all, because it's not enough to know. You have to really connect with it to effectuate change, right? To actually put change in. He was, as much as Antwone was avoiding, so was the doctor. And he was doing the same thing. And that's why that end scene, which is like, oh yes, that
Yeah.
end scene is so powerful because it's like you knew how to help him, and in turn he helped you because
Yes.
y'all was doing the same thing.
Yes. 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 Thank you, Danielle, for rocking with me as long as you did. I appreciate the
Of course, and
insight.
I'm gonna be in the chat
Yes,
because I know
ma'am.
you're gonna get to the mom scene, and that,
Yes.
whoo,
We
okay,
go get that.
that's the one. That's why I'll be like, I can't work with kids because I would be fighting everybody.
Oh Lord Jesus.
Be
True.
fighting
True.
everybody. Thank you for having me.
No,
Thank you for
thank
sharing your
you.
platform, and I appreciate you.
No, thank you for your insight. Thank you
You're
so much.
welcome.
I appreciate you, Danielle. I see you
All
in the
right.
chat, mints.
Okay.
All right, y'all. So that was Danielle. Give it up for her. What's going on, Crystal? I meant to shout you out. Love the transparency, Danielle. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, I can kind of wrap it up too. We got about 30 more minutes. I like to try to do at least 2 hours when I do these movie reviews. So we're gonna get there. So as Danielle was saying, there was, as I was saying as well, there was a disconnect. Um, Win the B versus Riri. Harper Polo, I appreciate you for joining. However, the battle was yesterday. It was a last minute battle yesterday, so definitely go over to Stash Cash Live and check it out. My apologies. We didn't really get a chance to promote it like that, but it did happen yesterday. So please go check that out. So you guys, we are finna get to the meat potatoes. Well, we kind of already did. We're like in the thick of it with this movie. So he goes back to let Dr. Davenport know that hey, he had his first kiss. He's super excited. And his first kiss was with Sharon, which is his love interest that's played by Joy Bryant. And I lightly touched on this scene here with Dr. Davenport and his wife, that there was obviously some type of disconnect, which we find out later at the end of the movie what that disconnect was. So the director, which is Denzel Washington himself, kind of makes sure he lightly touched on it, but didn't dive too deep into it so you can have your own idea of what it was about. I'm listening. Thank you, Lala. You're the best. So guess what, Lala? You get to hear my voice all night long in your dreams. You're welcome, Harper Polo. Thank you so much. Um, they say that girl Joy was so skinny they had to pop. Really? You watched the direct? Wow. But you know she's a model and she's always been the same size. She played in the movie Honey. She was skinny. She played in the movie Carmen. She was skinny. Every movie she's always been like that. I thought she was just naturally skinny. So that's news. Okay. That's a takeaway. A fun fact, I guess. A fun fact for this movie. But yes, you guys, we wrapping it up. So thank y'all for joining me this long. I won't be before you long. So we're kind of getting towards the end of this movie. Well, we're actually kind of in the middle. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all, but we're gonna speed it up. So remember the antagonist I was telling you about earlier, which is Grayson, which is one of the other sailors. Let me bring a picture back up of Grayson. He was the light-skinned brother who he got into it with about reading the book that he got from Dr. Davenport, and the book was the slave community. And so you could tell he's not really in tune. He's just happy to be a sailor and make money and travel the world, which some guys are. I don't blame them, you know. Where is my picture at of all the sailor men? I thought I had up here. I guess I don't have it no more, but he gets into it with Grayson, and You still here? Thank you, Anthony, for still being here. We kept y'all up last night and we kept y'all up, and I'm keeping y'all up again. So thank y'all. There's 12 people in the chat. Y'all are amazing. But Grayson would be the light skinned brother. He's one of the sailors as well. There we go. He's the guy in the middle, the light skinned guy. He basically approaches him. They have a little club night. And now that Antwone has, a girlfriend, he just thinks the respectful thing to do is to not really interact with any of the other women in the club that night. And so Grayson asks him, like, why you not mingling with the women? Why you sitting over there? I know you got a girlfriend, but we never met her. Basically questioning his manhood, questioning, does he really like women? And he says the the slur, the gay slur, he calls him the F word. And when he says that, all hell breaks loose because then they get ready to rumble. They get ready to rumble and they start wanting to fight. What's going on? Thank you so much for joining. Is it Calisthenics Life 101? I probably butchered your name. I'm so sorry. But thank you for joining. We are talking about the movie Antwone Fisher, and I'm kind of wrapping it up a little bit. We're getting to the meat and potatoes of this movie, so thank you. Callie. Yeah, that's what we're gonna call you, Callie for short. Thank you for joining my live. So yeah, they get into it, all hell breaks loose, and so those two get in a fight. And when they get in a fight, um, correct me if I'm wrong, Lala. I know you said you watched this movie 10 times. I forgot what happens after they get into that fight. Um, Let me go back here, y'all. And it's hard to, I think my mind be all over the place. I'll be trying to navigate and narrate. Navigate and narrate. So forgive me, y'all. But they get into the fight. He gets in trouble again. And then I guess he runs into Dr. Davenport again. And Dr. Davenport is like, yo, like this the third time, man. Like, what is up? Like, why do you still need help? Anyone who calls other names is most likely projection. Absolutely. I agree with that, Lala. California was good. Okay. So yeah, it definitely it is more than likely, Lala. I totally agree. So he calls him the the F word, y'all. And they get in a fight. He goes back to see Dr. Davenport. Dr. Davenport is like, bruh, I'm tired of seeing you. We got to figure this out. What's going on with you? And so, my apologies. Before we get to that, I think there was a point in the movie. This is Denzel and his wife. This is actually in the beginning where you can kind of see the disconnect going on. Um, After he tells Dr. Davenport about his first kiss, I think the next scene may have been, well, maybe not the next scene, the day out, y'all. I'm sorry, I got my scenes mixed up. There is a point in the movie where he runs into the wife, and the wife invites him over for Thanksgiving. So that's the point I'm trying to get to. Um, so she invites him to Thanksgiving, and he does go to Thanksgiving dinner at Mr. Davenport's, and the whole family is over there. And then he gets triggered again. Hi, what's going on, Trisha Nicole? He gets triggered again because one of Dr. Davenport's family members, which I think was either his father-in-law or his granddad, he basically questions him and asks him, why aren't you with your family? And that can be such a trigger for someone who doesn't have a family. And instead of him getting angry, punching walls, he walks away. He actually, he's applying some of the things that he's been learning along the way. He walks away. And then that's where Mr. Davenport kind of runs after him and like, hey, we got to kind of get down to the bottom of it. Like, what's going on? And then Danielle mentions that father hunger. This is the scene where he runs away. Dang, Denzel Washington look good right here. I still need him to get that goatee back and not the little military mustache cut right there he got going on, but he still look good. So, but he runs off, and then this is where that infamous poem comes in. Who will cry for the little boy? And I think I asked Danielle, when did we think Denzel Washington realize that, hey, Antwone has this type of father hunger. I think this might be the moment where it just started to click for Denzel. Like, okay, hey, there's something missing here in my life, and there's something missing here in his life as well. And it's that father hunger. And I think at this moment is where he lets him know, hey, you might want to try to start, connecting and reaching out to your actual family. So that is what happened in this scene here. So then we're going to kind of skip, hop, and jump, you guys. Want to skip, hop, and jump? Okay, yeah, this is the when he comes to Thanksgiving dinner to meet Dr. Davenport's family. So then we're going to skip, hop, and jump to where he actually starts to reach out and try to connect and find his actual family. And he does that with the help of Sharon, his girlfriend. They are basically official at this point, and he does that through the help of her. And she's concerned. She's like, hey, like I want you to, find your family. I understand how important this is. And she just really likes him. She just so in love. That's her boyfriend, y'all. He just so angry. You know how like good girls like bad boys. And I don't know if she's necessarily portrayed as like a good girl, but I think she just like, I just want to help my man out. He's just so angry. Why is he so? We got to get him to find his family, y'all. So I think that's what's going on. So she helps him get in contact with his family, and so they end up, I guess, getting a room. And but before we do that, he decides to address his abuser, which is Mrs. Tate. So he goes back to Mrs. Tate so he can find out who is his parents. And I think he specifically asks for his who is his dad. Now, I did also forget to mention, you guys, because I'm kind of jumping all over with the scenes. There was a scene where after he gets into it with Grayson, which is the light-skinned brother, after he gets into it with him, he does run and go to Dr. Davenport. And I think this is another point as well where he's crying and he's frustrated because he has this father hunger. And Dr. Davenport is letting him know, like, hey, I've done all I was supposed to do. Like, what is the issue? Why are you still angry? Why are you still upset? Like, what is the problem? We've literally had session after session. I thought we was getting somewhere. And then he says, you're trying to leave me. My mother left me. My father left me. And Jesse left me. And Jesse would be his best friend. Now, I don't have the older picture of Jesse, but I do have the younger picture of Jesse. This would be his best friend. When he got older, so he goes into telling Dr. Davenport about the story. When he got older, there was this moment. One second here. Where he finally left or basically got kicked out of Mrs. Tate's home. And this is when she was like, are you sassing me, boy? He's like, I ain't sassing you. She's like, you sassing me, boy. And so I guess he finally had enough and he finally stood up to his abuser. And Dr. Davenport did ask, like, how did it feel in that moment? He was like, it felt pretty good, and she tried to beat me with the shoe. And, I took it away from her, and it took everything in me not to just go in on her. And I love that. And it makes me wonder. And I wish I had Danielle for this one. I wonder why when the person who's been abused, why they don't go all the way in. Because you got some people that will go all the way in on their abuser, but what made him stop in that moment? Was there a certain fear that he had? Like, hey, I'm gonna just stop right here. I'm gonna just leave because what's most important to me right now is my freedom. And although you're kicking me out and I'm gonna be on the streets, I don't care because I'm getting from up under you. So I think he said this is when he was age 15 or 16. And so from there, he started to going in and out of shelter homes and then to eventually just on the street. So now we're going to fast back to where he runs into Jesse, his best friend, as they get older. Jesse is still in the same neighborhood, in that same household that they grew up in or they grew up around. And he goes back thinking that, hey, I got my buddy, I got my friend. And he's like, "Hey man, I've been living on the streets. Can I come in?" And his friend's like, "Yeah, of course. You I wish you would have came to me." But then there was Antoine's pride that was in the way. Antoine was like, I just didn't think I could come to you. And I think that happens to a lot of people as well, you know. And this also speaks to what Danielle was saying earlier. Maybe he was ashamed. Maybe he was ashamed of, like, hey, I'm out on the streets. I don't have no place to go. I just don't know why I didn't think to actually reach out to you, you know. But he lets them know, like, hey, you can stay here. My mom don't care, child. Everybody be staying here, so come right on. And he lets them in, and he feeds them, and he talk, but he's kind of like alluding to like he's trying to get into some things. So he like, hey, you my boy, right? You know, when people say stuff like that, like, you my friend, right? That means you about to get into some, okay, there go Danielle. She in the chat mints. Um, he's alluded to something like, hey, you my boy. And it's crazy because Antoine asked him, like, what you want? Like, it's like he automatically knew you want something from me. What do you want? And he was like, nah, I'm just saying you my boy. Can you ride to the store with me? Can can you basically cover for me? Can you just, what's going on, All Star? First time here. Great to see everyone. Hello, Corey. I F with movie reviews. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoy it. This is going to be kind of my new thing. Every Monday night around 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I do movie reviews. And right now we are reviewing the movie, The Antwone Fisher Story, which we are kind of wrapping up. I try to give myself about 2 hours. So we got about 20 more minutes. If you got time, enjoy the rest of this movie review. Seems like it's way later than 10:24. Does it? I think because if you was watching Stash's live last night, then y'all probably was up. So I'm keeping y'all up. To be honest, I'm sleepy too. I'll start hello. So yeah. So basically, he takes him to the store. He's like, I want you to, watch my back, cover me, look out for me. But when he was saying that, he was saying it in a sense as being my lookout person, not just like I guess like figuratively, like, hey, look out for me. I think he was saying that like literally, I need you to be my lookout, without really telling him what mess he was about to put him in. So he goes to the store, Jesse, and again, this is him as they are older. They are now basically grown now. And they go to the store, and Antoine has no idea what he is getting himself into. And as they go to the store, which is so crazy to me, it makes me wonder, like, okay, so I understand Jesse's like a product of his own environment, right? And being in the hood, but I don't think they gave enough backstory, my personal opinion, on Jesse for us to see like, okay, he's this troublemaker. Why did he all of a sudden, when they get in the store, want to rob the store? So he robs the store, and he did not let Antoine know that that's what the plan was when they got to the store. So he robs the store, or tries to, at least. He tries to rob the store. He pulls a gun out, and Antoine is standing by the door. So he's telling Antoine, hey, look out for me. And Antoine is shocked, like, look out for you how? Trauma on top of trauma. Yes, just trauma on top of trauma. Like, he's already homeless. He finally thought he had a place to stay, and everything is going to kind of get better from here, just for at the moment where he tells Antoine, hey, look out for me. I guess he realizes that Antoine's not looking out for him. So he turns his head for a split second. And the moment he does that, the store owner pulls out his firearm, and he unalives his friend Jesse right there in front of Antoine's very eyes. And you have the blood splatter all over his face. Talk about traumatic. Imagine that happens to you after everything else that you have been through as just a human being, okay? As a black man, as a human being, period. He's already suffered mental, physical abuse, and SA, and homelessness, and probably had to fight all his life. And now, the moment he thought he had a friend that could possibly, I can say, save him, or wow, I finally get a little bit of relief. Now we're dealing with, now I gotta mourn somebody. Now I gotta mourn somebody who I actually loved, and this was just out of the blue, so sudden. And I meant to mention this earlier before I got into what I was trying to get into. So now we can go back to what I was saying about after he tells Dr. Davenport this information, then Dr. Davenport kind of lets him know, hey, you feel like you have lost everybody, you feel like you're losing me, I think it is time that you go ahead and try to connect with your family. It is time for you to find your family, you know? And so he encourages him to do so. And of course, his woman, Sharon, is right by his side. And she's like, I'm going to help my man find his family so we can be a family. We got to complete this. We got to get, we got to help my baby. He's so angry. He's so angry and so traumatized. So that's where Sharon comes in, and she, helps him find his family, or try to find his family. And in the midst of that, they got to go back to the source, and they got to go back to her, which is his foster mother, Mrs. Tate. And that's where he stands up to Mrs. Tate. Hello, Corey. First time here. This movie had a lot of yes, Antonio. Yeah, thank you for joining my live. It did. So if you're new here, every Monday night I do movie reviews, and yes, we are reviewing the movie Antwone Fisher, and I'm kind of wrapping it up. So he goes back, and he faces his abuser, which is his foster mother, Mrs. Tate. And if you guys can see here, let me see if I can move myself out the way. His SAer, Nadine. Yeah, that lady. First of all, she opens the door, and she has some nerve, like, 20. Oh my God. I'm so happy to see. And why do abusers do that? Why do they act like, I need a Danielle up here for this one. Why do they act like, well, of course, it's probably guilt, right? Like nothing happened. Like, the people who you are abusing, they don't forget. And you mess these people up forever with the things that you do to them, especially as kids. Why do you think this man done all of a sudden forgot that you used to abuse him? Like, why do you think that? Like, why did you think that? But anyway, she opens the door like with open arms, and Antoine is like, no, ma'am, no ham, no turkey. Like, back up. I come here for Miss Tate, and I really ain't come here for her. I came here for to find out who is my father. What is the name of my father? And so that's where Mrs. Tate comes to the door, and the infamous line, she like, nigga, hug my neck, and it's 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 just one of those things. Like I said before, why are you acting as if nothing happened? But anyway, um she's like, hug my neck, and hey, how you doing? And he's like, I'm not here for that. I need to know my parents. What is my father's name, so I can go ahead and start looking there? Danielle says Miss Tate also rationalized her behavior. Ooh, that is true. Dan says also guilt, and some of them have no guilt. They do not think they are wrong. They justify the behavior. That is true. You do got some people like delusionally think like they did no wrong at all. Anthony said, sounds like a Tyler Perry movie, traumatic trauma. Well, this is real life. This is someone's actual real life. So he just basically wrote his story, I'm sorry, I've been missing some of y'all chats. At least journey with him and now gone. Yeah. I think I don't know. I think were you saying that to him trying to find his people, trying to find his family? So let me see here. Let me get back to my screen. So yes, we have Mrs. Tate, and she's the friend. The friend. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, Jesse. Yeah, the friend. Oh my goodness, yeah. And so, oh yeah, I get what you're saying. So for him to like at least go on this journey with him, he has somebody to relate to, like he understands him because they grew up together. Yeah, that's true. So at this moment, this is where he lets her know, like, hey, I'm not here for the BS. I'm only here for one thing. And she's obviously the only person who would have this information. So luckily, I don't know what made her have like a change of heart. Maybe, I don't know, maybe she got off on him standing up to her. But, as they finally kind of get into like a disagreement or argument, I guess, I don't say disagreement, like an argument, and she's letting him know, I think you forgot. And he's letting him know, no, I think you forgot. Like, do you realize what you put me through? Like, are you serious? Are you serious? And then finally, as he's, getting ready to walk away, she basically says, "Hey, your dad's last name is Elkins, Edward Elkins, okay?" And so now he has a start. Okay, at least I got a name, and let me go ahead and try to find out who my people is. So that's where he gets with Sharon, and they get together so they can look for his family. So as they're getting ready to look for his family, it's as if not that they're losing hope, but you can see them sitting on the bed. They got the phone books everywhere, and they're trying to find which for the real. This is the real Antwone Fisher. I'm glad he was lucky enough to find his family. You know, his people connected to his family. And I think the first person he ends up finding is his aunt. He ended up getting some luck, and this is her. This is actually, do y'all remember the lady from who played Will Smith's mom on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? That's his mom. Never seen this movie, but great breakdown. Thank you so much, All Star. I appreciate that. Yeah. Later on, I may get into allowing people to give me suggestions. you know, and I can break certain movies down, but I it's got to be one of those classic movies though. Danielle says Antoine's journey is not about his abuse; it's about rediscovering who he is apart from it. That's good, Danielle, and thought it which challenges the narrative that Black identity only forged through pain and trauma. That's good. And what was I going to add to that? Dang, I just lost my train of thought. Which I guess that would be why his actual book that the real Antwone Fisher wrote was Finding Fish. So that definitely what you said ties into the journey not being just about his abuse, but about him finding and discovering who he is. And that hence the title of his actual book that he wrote called Finding Fish, him trying to find himself. And I think a lot of people who have suffered from some type of abuse try to really find themselves. And it starts with them, I guess, kind of going back to the abuse and kind of seeing, kind of fighting through that and realizing that, hey, I am not this. This is a part of my story, but now I have to understand who I am as just a human being. Um, Anthony says, I've never watched Bel Air. Okay. Fresh Prince of Bel Air, just the regular. Okay. Well, this is a good TV show back in the day with Will Smith. But yeah, this lady back here with the purple shirt on plays Will Smith's mother in the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. And in this movie, she plays the aunt of Antoine. So this is the first person that he ends up getting in contact with. And she gets I guess her brother and I guess her other brother, and at that point, she's like, hey, come on. She was very open, which is sometimes that's rare. Sometimes, you don't really get much help from other family members. They probably don't care, or don't know that, their brother or cousin, had a child, and but luckily she was very open to wanting to connect with her possible nephew. So she told him to come on, and we can meet and we can talk. And so at that point, there was a moment where he was just, I guess, like, okay, this could be it. This could be my family. And so of course he takes Sharon with him, his girlfriend, and they come to their home, and he's like, hey, she asks the brothers, like, which is the guy, if y'all could see back there with a little top hat on, he a comedian, or is he just a regular actor? He's playing in a lot too. I don't know if you guys can see him. He's right behind Antwone with the hat on. And you said love this scene. Did you? Yes, yes. I don't have the scene of them where they sit down in the living room where they're like staring at him like, well, you look like, Edward, you kind of favor him. And I know that kind of had to give him like a little bit of hope, like, I hope these my people. Lord, not separate son again. Oh my God, here go Anthony. What did Anthony say? That man with that hat looks like both for seven his son. Oh my goodness, Anthony's hilarious. But yes, and so we are going to get to the scene that I really want to get to. So I'm trying to get there, y'all. We got a few more. We got 7 more minutes, and we're gonna wrap this up. So, as he's asking about his dad, they're letting him know, hey, he passed already. He's like, I know my dad passed, but I'm just trying to make sure I'm connecting with the right people. He basically passed after he was born, like literally right after he was born. So he wouldn't have never honestly gotten a chance to meet his dad. The mama, yes, yes, the scene we all the one and only, we gonna get there. We gonna get there. So he asked, he was like, hey, so I guess the uncle, the one who looks like Bubba from Sanford and Son, he says, well, Edward used to date such and such, and I forgot the mama name, played by Miss Viola Davis. He says that is such and such son. So he's starting to kind of like recollecting, like, okay, I think this might be okay. Well, hey, I think I know who your mama is. And so he's like, okay, well, yeah, can I meet her? And he was like, sure. So they go to find his mom, and then we run into boom. This is my first introduction to Viola Davis, may I add. I don't know what movie y'all first seen Viola Davis in, but I want to say this is my first introduction to Viola Davis. Viola Davis is an actor, baby. This lady can act. She plays these scenes kind of well, though. Very well. Like the toe up, distressed person that just she exudes a lot from these characters through the screen. You can almost feel what she's trying to give in these scenes as the character. But she plays his mom, and he goes and sees her for the first time, and he asks questions that I think any child would ask a mother. Where were you? Did you think about me? Did you, care about me? Like, why didn't you reach out for me? And those are some very good questions that I feel like most absentee parents never have an answer to. Almost never have an answer. I think it could be guilt. Maybe they just don't know. Maybe they're just caught up in their own world and caught up in everything that they're, doing, that they just really don't have an answer. There's really maybe not a really good answer that they could give. And there's nothing that they can say that can make up for that lost time. Let's see here. No, it's not Bubba. Well, what's the name? What's the name? Booba. Bubba, Booba. But yeah, so there's not really much that she can say that could really help with the lost time that they've had. Let's see here. Incredible live so far. I'm about to head to the movies. Altune. Thank you. Thank you, All Star. Appreciate you for stopping by. Thank you so much. So he realizes that he's not really going to get anywhere, but he is happy that he did get a chance to meet his mom. And so we get into the scene where, my bad, y'all. I felt like I had to sneeze. And so we get into the scene where I guess that's all the closure that he was basically going to get from his mother. Um, so we get to the scene where he goes back, and I don't know how they did all of this so quickly, decide to call up the family, and it's like he's living out his dream. And I wonder if the real Antwone Fisher had these moments to where he would dream about meeting his family one day, and then all of a sudden actually meeting them. As he comes home or comes back to his aunt's house, he's greeted with all his family. They hug him and tell him that they love him, and this got to be a beautiful thing. Like they were so happy to greet him. And he literally he dang near has the whole gang is there. The whole gang is there. There is no answer. He needed to ask, though. The ask, hold on, he needed to ask, though. The ask was for him. That's good. That's good. Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, and that's what I said before. Like sometimes there's really no answer, and I don't think most absentee people they almost never have an answer. There's really nothing they can really say. Um, but yeah, back to him actually getting a chance to meet all his family, and that's what he wanted. That's what he needed. That's what he has longed for so long, and having these dreams of possibly meeting his family to actually meeting his family and realizing, hey, I have people who love me and who's going to be here for me. The ending do it for me. He needed that closure though. He did, Antonio. Yeah, he did. He really did. But we're basically to the ending, and he meets his family, and there is a happy ending for Antwone Fisher and the real Antwone Fisher, him actually meeting his family and getting to know them and actually getting married and starting his own family possible. I don't know if the real Antwone Fisher has kids. Y'all let me know if anyone knows about the real Antwone Fisher, if he has children. Um and now we can kind of tie the scene in. You guys, I actually made through this in 2 hours, y'all. We are running on that 2 hour mark. So thank y'all for joining me. But we are here to talk about this last scene. So we realize Danielle kind of touched on this a little bit. I think, hold on, if I can pull it up. Boom, bam. Here we go. This last scene where, everything is good now. He feels like a weight has been lifted off his shoulders. He got a chance to deep dive into his past and understand why he is the way he is, why he's so angry, why he's so shamed, why is he so upset, why he's going through all of these emotions, because Dr. Davenport helped him pull some of those things out of him so he can realize what he has been going through, and why he's been running away from these, traumatic experience, and why he gets triggered, and who he is as a person, and helping him kind of walk through that. And so we get to this ending scene, and finally, Dr. Davenport lets him know that, hey, you needed me whole time. I needed you. I needed you because I was going through my own little thing. There was a secret that I was carrying because my wife, which is in a few of the scenes, we see them have these silent moments, or these moments where he's avoiding, found out that we couldn't have any children. We couldn't build a family. And that's something that was obviously tearing him up inside as well, but he probably just didn't know how to express it, or maybe he's kind of been suppressing it. So he's just kind of been going throughout his life without really really addressing his own issues. Danielle says, having gone through this, I forgave and said there was no malice in the abandonment. Most people do the best they can with what they have at the time. That's true. Giving me up was the best my mother could do. Ooh, wow. Danielle, I don't think are you you're talking about your actual experience. Wow. Y'all go and check out Danielle. We got to start going over to Danielle because she be dropping some gems, and obviously there's a lot that Danielle has shared about her own personal experiences. So y'all go to just Danielle. She is a licensed therapist, and she is also a pastor, and she has very, very good content, very informative content that we can use in our everyday lives. So y'all hit her up, y'all. And I appreciate Danielle for helping me out with this movie and giving her take on it, my professional take on it. But yeah, you guys, this movie kind of wraps up in that way where he lets Antwone know, hey, whole time you needed me and I needed you. And they both kind of help each other realize certain things, more so Antwone, because he had probably maybe the most trauma. But this was a great movie, you guys. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below about this movie. I was raised by my Gma. Ooh, Danielle. And you know what they say about women who were raised by their grandma? They said that they are wild. So it's amazing to see that you turned out the way that you did. Like, your outcome is great. And matter of fact, that is something that Antwone Fisher says to his mother, not Viola Davis, Lord Jesus. I forgot her name in this movie, y'all. But he says it to her like, hey, like, I'm someone you should be proud of. I turned out great. Like, did you think about me? Did you wonder like how I would turn out? I actually turned out a good person. Yes, you're welcome. Thank you. No, thank you. Thank you, Danielle. So you guys, I know I have kept y'all for 2 whole hours. And if you have stayed for the whole 2 hour live, you are the best person in the world. You are freaking amazing. And was, yes. So y'all, I appreciate y'all for tuning into this live, all 10 of y'all. Thank y'all so much. I'm gonna bring myself back on screen really quick if I can, which I can't remember how to do that. Y'all, I still be trying to learn. I still be trying to learn this whole what do you call this thing? StreamYard. But next movie we will be reviewing. I'll make sure I let y'all know ahead of time. I know Lala said she wanted me to do They Clone Tyrone. You did good, Corey. Thank you so much, Anthony. I appreciate it. You were here from the beginning. A lot of y'all were here from the beginning with me struggling with these movie reviews, but we're getting better. We're getting better. You are looking at the reformed version. Okay. I get it. I get that. Everybody got a pass. I got you. I got you. You did good too, Danielle. Yeah, Danielle did excellent. This is her lane though. She knows how to break things down. So I appreciate for her for joining. So you guys, shout out to Lala. Lala probably over there asleep somewhere, but she recommended I do They Clone Tyrone. So that will be the next video that I do, and I will have my host will be my best friend for that one. So she will be hosting with me. That is Wawa, and we will be deep diving into the movie They Clone Tyrone. So again, you guys, I know it's late. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I hope to see y'all in the next movie review every Monday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be reviewing a movie, and eventually we're going to dive into some TV series. So if y'all got any special requests, y'all can put it down in the comment section. Make sure you guys comment on this live after the live if there's a movie or a TV series that you would like for me to review. You did amazing. Good job. Movie night. Yes, thank you. So I appreciate you guys. I am signing off. I will catch y'all in the next live. Y'all have a wonderful night. Say y'all prayers. Say them prayers, y'all. I'm just kidding. Y'all have a wonderful night. Good night, y'all.